actually today with our ball behind our lower back. You're gonna bring your fingertips forward facing, your elbows are back, and your right leg is gently stretched. You just gotta roll your shoulders back for a moment and kind of just sense again, how do you feel here? Good, and we're gonna start to take a nice deep inhale, gently leaning into the ball, bending your elbows. And then exhaling on the way back, let's start to stretch your right arm and your left leg away. So you're kind of grounding through your left foot, re-grounding your right hand, taking an inhale, leaning back. Exhale, reaching and stretching. Good. Now, if at any point you feel like, hey, I don't want to lean back that much, or actually, I don't want to stretch my legs so much, you can also just bring your knee into the center. But we're just trying to sense again how we are right now, where do we need to work a little bit more, or where do we want to, and taking it from there. Great, last time here, inhaling, gently leaning back, engaging your belly just a bit. Exhaling slowly and steadily, letting all the air out. Great, you keep your right hand there. Please slowly and steadily reach your left. Take a nice deep inhale, and then we lean back just a little bit more. Good, bring your left toes off of the floor. Start to float your right leg a little bit away from the mat. We take an inhale, pull the elbows in, open the right leg, open the left knee. And then exhale, bring everything back into the center. Now, if at any point you feel like you want to put the right leg completely back down on the floor, you can do that. Like if you want to take a break in between, go for it. We have another 4. And remember, you ground into the floor with your left heel so that you have the openness through your left hip, and you can push away, engage the belly to squeeze everything back. And even if you start to feel your inner thighs a bit, remembering that we're still trying to equally distribute our effort here. Super, 2 more, pulling the elbows in, exhale, engaging and reaching. Awesome. Excuse me, allergies are also starting, so on top of the end of the cold, I now have allergies, which is super cool. Okay, slowly and steadily bring your right foot down. Let's pull the left knee into the middle, give yourself a nice little hug. Good, holding this left hand onto your left knee, you take a nice deep inhale, gently and slowly twisting. And as we exhale back, we're gonna grab a hold of our leg and give ourselves a nice little stretch. Okay, so re-bend, attach your left hand to your left knee, keeping that left knee hovered. And then exhale, finding your way, circling back and stretch. Okay, only 2 more, please. So again, just being here, noticing that openness through your side body, through your spine. And seeing how much stretch you want to add into that left foot or not. Great. All right, hold here for a moment. Take a nice deep inhale. Alrighty, and then exhale, foot goes back down on the floor. Great, release your hands all the way, and then find your way all the way to the top on 3, 2, and 1. Good, hands come next to you, slightly behind. Let's gently bend the right knee, and then bring both legs a little bit further away. Open up your chest, start to lift your hips just a little bit off the floor. And we take a nice stretch of this left leg, inhaling. And then let's exhale the right one away. So again, starting to just add a little bit more movement, but not actually going anywhere. You're thinking about holding yourself here. If you needed to micro bend your elbows to do so, you're more than welcome to do so. Good. We've got 2 more on each side. And then your last reach on the left. And then all the way back. Great, let's keep that left foot all the way extended, and we make a nice little bend of your elbow. Inhale. As you exhale, you lift your right heel away. So right heel comes down, inhale, bend. Exhale, stretch and lift. Only 3 more. Remember, you can always bend this left leg if you need to as well for the next 2. And then your last one here. Super, left foot comes down, take a nice deep breath. And then slowly bring your hips down on 3, 2, 1. Good, release your arms, stretch your legs out, and give everything a nice little shake. And if at any point you feel like you need to stretch out your wrists, everyone, please always take that moment. We're trying to strengthen everything, but not to put too much stress in it. Alrighty, here we go. So the left leg stays nice and long. Your right knee is gently bent. We put our hands slightly behind us. And then we slowly and steadily lean back just a little bit. So remember, even in this position, you're not putting so much pressure in your hands, right? You're still using your core to hold you here. Alrighty, let's take a nice deep inhale. Good, and then slowly and steadily, gently twisting all the way to the back left. Great. And then on the way back, slowly stretching out your leg. Good. Inhaling, twisting to that back left. Oh, actually, I think we re-put our hands onto the floor, didn't we? We did. And then we lean back and stretch. Good. Remember, one side always looks slightly different than the other, so I'm going with the flow. My brain and body are doing their best to combine themselves. All right, last two. And again, here checking in with that feeling of grounding and leaning, allowing your knee to have a nice amount of stretch. All right, your last one here. And then all the way back. All right, let's slowly and steadily bring your right heel back down on the floor, reaching your arms all the way, and then floating this left leg off the floor. So we pull back, leaning into the ball, open your right knee, left leg swings gently to the outside, and then slowly return. Now, as you're here, start to notice where your hips are, right? If you feel like you're twisting too much in your upper body or your hips are like wobbling a lot, just make it a little bit smaller, right? The idea is that we're still trying to find this space. Good, and I think you're probably pulling when I'm pushing and pushing when I'm pulling, but that's totally fine. Just allow your arms and your body to move how they feel good at this moment without stressing too much about that. All right, cutting ourselves slack, everyone. Last two. And then your last one here. Excellent, foot comes all the way back down. Let's take a nice deep breath and start to slowly flex this left foot. Okay, so we're gonna inhale, stretch this right leg all the way away. And then exhale, bend. Okay, inhale, stretch. And then exhale back. Good, two more, please. And then your last one here. Excellent, foot goes down on the floor, both hands come next to you. Take a nice deep inhale and start to lift your hips off. Great, this time we stretch the right leg, inhaling, grounding, and then exhale, switch. Now remember, as you're here, checking in, where are you holding yourself from? Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure on your wrists? If that feels like it's too much, you can always put your hips back down. Again, you can always add a little micro bend in your arms as we continue for one more on each side here. All right, we end with the right leg all the way up. We slowly bend our elbows, and on the way back, you lift your left heel. Good, heel comes down, inhale, bend. Exhale, push and lift. Super, only three more. You can always put your right leg down a little bit more if you need to, or actually bend your right leg, last two. Great, and then your last reach. Super, both feet come back down on the floor, lower your hips, please. Shift your weight a little bit further towards the front, and then give yourself a nice little shake. Alrighty, let's keep moving. So we're gonna put the soles of our feet back down on the floor. The ball comes in between your thighs. Please, reaching your arms all the way to the top, and let's start to curl down one vertebrae at a time until your shoulder blades hit the floor. Both hands come behind your head. Your feet come a little bit closer. All right, let's reach the right arm all the way up. So you're gonna squeeze the ball, push your right arm down, and then exhale, lift it all the way back up. Okay, then you squeeze, twist to the left as you stretch out your left leg, and then find your way back. So inhaling, pushing down the right arm, exhale, lift, and then squeezing the ball as you twist from your waist up And then exhaling, engaging, finding your way back. Now, if you're happy here and you feel like this is what you want, great. If you feel like you want to start to add a little bit more, you can add your left arm the next time around. So we can also push out with the left arm as you push down with the right. And then find your way back. It's kind of just challenging your brain a little bit, but also releasing some of your hold. So please decide what works for you. We have another 3. And then each time you move, it's still a choice of how much or how little you need right now. And just sensing your body reaching, even if it's just like 1% more. Great. And your last final one here, squeezing as you push down with the right, maybe reaching that left arm out to the side. Slowly and steadily returning, and then gently squeezing as you twist. And finding your way all the way back. Good, both hands come behind your head. You can interlace your fingers today if you'd like for a little bit more support. And then slowly squeeze the knees back into the center, insides of your feet come together. Great, so we squeeze the ball lower on down, finding our nice halfway point. And from here we squeeze the ball, stretch your legs all the way in front of you. And then exhale, tap your toes. So think about finding an angle that you can work with. So we're trying to work here this middle lower core feeling, but I don't want you to find that this is melting too much into your back, or rather wandering too much into your back. That you can still feel your belly actively holding as we squeeze the ball and tap our toes for the next 3. Belly goes back for 2. Great, last one more. Super, from here you stay here, release your fingertips all the way down by your side. Good, and we make little mini pulses with this ball for the next 8, 7, 6. Good, keep reaching for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Super, knees come into the center, melt your head, neck, and shoulders down. And wait. Alrighty, let's put the soles of our feet back down on the floor, reaching your arms all the way up, giving yourself your nice little wiggle. And then circling your head, neck, and shoulders all the way back up into your happy lifted position here. Good, one hand on top of each other behind your head for a moment, re-wiggling. And then reaching this left arm all the way up. Good, so we inhale, push the left arm down, squeezing the ball, and then reach it on up. And then we engage the belly just a little bit as we start to squeeze and twist to the right. And then find your way back. So again, taking your time here, like I want you to feel how your inner thighs start to really wrap around the ball, right? That feeling that it's not just a squish. It's almost like we're trying to wrap it around. So we're trying to angle ourselves or activate all the angles of our body here. Inhaling, squeeze and wrap. And then exhale, slowly letting it go. So that you're not just letting it go in one count, but that you're really taking your time. Great, and again here, if you want to start to add that right arm into your stretchy reach, go for it. And then finding your way back. Good, and sensing again how you push into that left foot as you gently twist to the right, and that the shoulders still have space to breathe for the next 3. And remembering that every time we twist, we still give our organs a nice little massage. We get to have a chance to like release and breathe, but also sense where the twist feels like, all right, this is my maximum right now, or I can reach a little bit more. Great, last one here. Fantastic, both hands come behind your head. Let's bring the feet in a tiny bit closer. We're gonna start to squeeze a little bit higher, squeezing the ball, bringing our elbows in. And now let's release the ball, release the elbows, and lower down just like a millimeter. So think about inhaling, lifting up a tiny bit higher, squeezing the ball, bringing your elbows together. And then as you exhale, you slowly release the ball, release your elbows, and just lower down a tiny bit. So it's almost like the smallest amount of a crunch, but I don't even want to call it a crunch. I want to call it like a lift. And just playing around with how much or how little you can control here, meaning like even just the slowest amount of lowering down and then lifting right back up still activates the innermost layers. And pushing away with the back of your elbows as you slowly melt down. We got 2 more to go, please. Inhaling, squeeze, lift, and return those elbows into the center. And then we exhale, slowly release the inner thighs, open up the elbows, lower down. And your last one here. And then finding your way all the way back. Great, let's melt everything down to the floor on 3, 2, and 1. Great, we're gonna take the ball, flex out your feet all the way, please. Reaching your arms all the way into a nice lifted position. Inhale, squeeze for me. Let's exhale, peel our head, neck, and shoulders off of the floor into a nice, tall, seated position. All right, so we're coming onto the left side. All right, so the ball's gonna come underneath your left side body. Your right foot comes onto the floor and your left heel kind of rests on your right foot. All right, so let's start to stretch this right arm all the way away. Good, we take a nice deep inhale, slowly and steadily start to lift your hips just a little bit off the floor. So again, you're staying in contact with the ball, but you're focusing on grounding through your right foot, your left foot, and your left knee. And then at the very end, we start to stretch this left leg away. So the next one, again, I want you to have 3 contact points. So your knee, both feet, and then you start to slowly lift. And then we melt right back in, down towards the floor, and then stretch. Now, this time, give it a go. See if you can actually keep your left knee off the floor, and see if you can just rest your left heel onto your right shin so that you have a little bit less contact on the floor. And just sense if that feels good or not. You can always find more contact, right? You can always put that left knee back on the floor if you feel like that's what you need right now. Great, just noticing again where you're at. And if lifting your hips still feel like it's just too much right now, you can always just reach your arm up and over. You don't actually have to lift your hips completely. Great, let's do one last one, please. Inhaling, gently reaching, lifting your hips just enough. And then exhale, finding your way back. Excellent. Slowly find your way back into the center. Take a nice deep breath. All right, you're gonna take the ball out from underneath you and just melt yourself down. So you can either put your head here or here, depending on how you are feeling at the moment. And your fingertips can either be at a diagonal or upward facing towards the edge of the mat, again, depending on how your shoulders feel. All right, so we're gonna stretch this left leg all the way onto the floor. We inhale, push into the mat, stretch this right leg all the way up. Good, now you keep the push, you bend the right knee and simultaneously start to lift the left foot off. That means lowering your left foot down, stretching your right foot all the way up. And then exhaling, bending the right knee, pushing into the ball as you lift the bottom leg away. Now again, maintaining our sense of stability. And again, if you feel like your neck wants to be more on the floor, you can do that as well. But I want you to maintain that full feeling of pushing and lifting. And again, if you feel like you want to change your arm direction, you can also reach your arm a little bit further away. So these are small details that I'm going to leave up to you. You can also change it midway. Play around with it. How does it feel one way versus the other? Great. You've got another 2. And your last reach. Super, let's put that left foot back down on the floor. Slowly and steadily push the right leg down in front of you. Again, your arm can also be closer depending on how you feel. Great, we push again into the ball, reach on up. So we inhale, push down with that top leg, trying to keep our hips as stacked as possible. And then exhale, engage as you slowly float that right leg back up. Get 2, let's do 3 more. Now, as you start to notice again the line that you're drawing with your big toe, and think about, all right, you're pushing down with your inner thighs, but keeping your core active. Exhale, focus on the outer thighs and your glutes as you magnetize back up. Good, last time here. And then finding your way all the way. Great, everything comes back into the center. We take a nice deep breath. And let's find our way into a nice lifted position, please. Alrighty, so this time your left hand is going to be a little bit further away. Your right hand comes underneath the ball, or rather on top of the ball. Your right knee stays where it is, and your left leg goes all the way long. All right, we push into the ball, float our left leg up, starting to reach towards the outside of the left. And then we exhale, find our way back into the center, grounding through your left foot, and just give yourself a nice little reachy twist at the top. Good. Inhaling, floating the left leg up, keeping your hips nice and stable as you push into the ball, into your left hand, and then exhaling, floating that left leg back, regrounding your toes. Good, we inhale, twist with that right arm all the way up towards the ceiling, and then exhale back. Good, now if you feel like you don't like your hands on the ball, you're always more than welcome to just put your hands directly onto the mat. But just allowing that feeling of really lifting as much as you can with your left leg. We still maintain that sense of our spine is long and it's not actually curling. We still feel the reach all the way as the shoulders continue to melt down your spine. Good, lifting all the way here. Great, let's do our last one, please. Inhaling, pushing into the ball, opening to the side. Great, and then exhaling, finding your way back, regrounding those feet. Super. Inhale, gently reach. And exhale, come on back. All right, so just put the ball away for a moment. You can put it underneath a corner of your mat, please. Opening your arms, keeping your arms both now underneath your shoulders, elbows go back. We start to float the right knee towards the side as your right foot rests on the back of your left knee. Good, so we squeeze the inside, right knee comes in. Exhale, open it up. Now again, if you feel like this hold is too much, please put your left knee down on the floor and do this from a supported position for the next 3. Reaching 2. Awesome, last one. 1. Good, stretching out that right leg here for me. We bend the right knee, inhale. Exhale, stretch it out for 5. Remember, the left knee can go back down on the floor for 4. Engaging for 3. Smiling for 2. And then your last one for 1. Great, everything comes back into the middle, knees come down. And then shift your weight all the way back. Awesome. All right, if you can grab a hold of your ball for a moment, and then let's stack our spines all the way to the top. So before we do the other side, we're just gonna do a little stop in the middle. All right, so you're gonna sit on your heels, if that's cool. Bring the ball in between your palms, please. Take a nice deep inhale, reaching your arms all the way up, shoulders melt. And then we exhale, pull the ball into your center. Now think about squeezing the ball, leaning forward just enough so that you feel that your core is holding you. And then we reach the arms nice and long in front of us. And then exhale, use your belly to come back to your spine as you pull your arms in, and then restack your spine. Fingertips go upward facing. Inhaling, reach, shoulders melt. Exhale, engage, let all the air out, squeeze back. Super, rotating just a little bit forward facing as you lean. And then keep your belly engaged as you reach your arms parallel to the floor. Super, engage your belly, belly comes back as you pull the elbows in towards the side, and then reach on up again. Last time, inhaling up. Exhale, return. Good, leaning forward just a bit as you reach your arms parallel to the floor. And then exhale, find your way all the way back. Excellent. Let's come over onto the right side, please. Oh, microphone, please don't do this to me today. I've been missing you, and now you're gonna cooperate, right? Yes, Danny. All right, so your left foot comes onto the floor. Your right leg is also bent. Here we go. We take a nice deep inhale. You're kind of grounding, right? So we're slowly and steadily lifting our hips off of the floor just a bit. And then exhaling, finding your way back. Good. Inhaling, lifting just a bit, keeping both, or rather all of your contact points. And then exhale, return. Cool. And then starting to sense again. Do you want to add a little bit more? Maybe you can stretch that bottom leg away. And when you come back this time, see if you can keep that right knee off the floor. So you're really only using that left foot. But again, always rechecking. Sometimes the reach feels good. Sometimes you want to just keep your knees bent the whole time. So I like you to always sense, just because you did it one way on one side, you can always do it slightly different on the other. I mean, we try and maintain our balance as much as we can, but still honoring that every side is still different. Super, you have another 2, please. And that feeling of pushing into the mat, noticing the gaze down at the floor. And still slowly lifting just enough. And then finding your way back. Excellent. Let's slowly bend the knees, take the ball away, and then find our way down for me here. All right, so again, I'm starting here with like a nice grounding position. Later, we can always change. All right, so we slowly bring this left knee in, pushing into the ball. And then as we exhale, we continue to ground into the ball, bend the left knee and push the right leg up. Now, a few things I want you to keep in mind. As we do this, number 1, your shoulder still stays very far down on the left side. You're only keeping yourself lifted to a point that you can hold it. If you feel like you're leaning back super far, then you have to make it a little bit smaller. The idea here is to still engage your belly enough to hold support and lift, keeping that left knee reaching towards you, but it's still like a lifted feeling. We're not trying to close the knee. We're trying to maintain a full sense of stability. Great, and then now maybe you want to see perhaps that feeling of pushing into the ball far away from you feels good. And if not, then you bring it right back, please. Good, we have another 2. Great, and then your last one here. All right, so slowly keeping those hips nice and stacked. We reach with our fingertips, allow the left leg to go down towards the floor. And you exhale, engage your belly to float that leg back up. Now, if again, your hips feel tight, you can always bend your knee and close that way, right? The sensation is still the same, it just adds a little bit less resistance on the inner thighs and in the hips. So we push down, keeping the rest of us very grounded, inhaling. Focus on the outside of your thigh, engaging your glutes, keeping your core active as you lift. Good, you have another 2, please. Awesome, and then your last one here. Still using that ball to help stabilize as you engage the belly, keep your hips nice and stacked, and find your way back. Great, slowly bend both knees into the center, and then lift yourself all the way up. Okay, I'm gonna come back here. So the ball now is underneath your left hand, and your right hand comes a little bit in front. Left knee stays nice and bent, your right leg goes all the way long. Cool, and then we lift this right leg up. So we inhale, open the right leg to the side. And then exhale, engage, find your way back, regrounding your right toes. Inhaling, twisting with this left arm up towards the ceiling, giving yourself a nice little stretch. Exhale, back in the middle. So as you continue here, sensing how your hips are responding, meaning are you leaning super far into one side? Can we still try and keep that balance between the right hand on the floor, evenly distributing through our fingertips? And how much twist do you feel like you need at this moment? Reaching all the way to the side, inhaling. And still noticing that oblique feeling, right? The side body feeling as you lift your leg back into the middle. That you're not just swinging the legs, right? That feeling of pushing and lifting for your next two. Great, and then your last one here. All the way up. Superb. All right, ball goes underneath a corner, please. And grounding both hands underneath your shoulders. Right leg stays where it is. You bring your left foot on top and behind your right knee. So we close the left knee, inhaling. Exhale, engage and open. Good. Inhale, close the left knee, elbows back. Exhale, open. You can also put this right knee back down on the floor for the next 3. Engaging for 2. And your last one here. Good, stretching this left leg out, keeping it to the side, everyone. We bend it in towards the heel, towards the bum, stretch away for 5. Holding for 4. Remember, you can always put your knee back down for more support if that feels better. Pick and choose your challenges for the next 2. And 1. Super, everything comes back into the center, knees come down. And give yourself a nice little shake. Wiggle, reach. All right, let's stack our spines on 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna come onto the belly now. I feel like I'm trying to take us on a little journey around the body. Do I want the ball? Actually, you know what? Forget about the ball for a moment. You're gonna rest your hand or your head on your left arm. Open our legs to the outside of our mat, and then you reach your right arm long. Okay, so for the moment, we're just gonna be kind of cozy. We're gonna inhale, reach this right arm up a little bit higher. And then as we exhale, we circle this right arm around and lift the left leg up. Great. Inhale, hold. And then exhale, return. Now, if your range of motion feels uncomfortable, you can bend your elbow. You can make it a little bit smaller. You don't have to reach as much. But again, I want your upper body feeling to be like melting and relaxing, but still lifting from your belly. Good. So we inhale. Exhale, circle and lift. Inhale, hold. And then exhale, reach around. Awesome, one more time please. Inhale, reaching a little bit. Exhale, circling and lifting. Great, inhale, hold. And then exhaling, finding your way back. All right, let's bring both hands on top of each other, forehead glued to your hands. We take an inhale here. Exhale, lift your elbows, head, neck, and shoulders off of the floor, and we hold here. Great, let's start to float both of our feet off of the floor. And we inhale, bend the knees, tap the toes in the middle. Exhale, reach your legs out to the side as you stretch your arms to a T or a V position. Good, let's do that again. Inhale back into the center. See if you can keep your head, neck, and shoulders slightly lifted. If you need to drop at any moment, please just melt your head, neck, and shoulders down and decide to focus on your legs. Or keep your legs down and just decide to focus on your upper body. The knees are ideally staying slightly lifted off of the mat. And you've got one more to go.
and all the way back. Great. Bring your hands again underneath your head, and then slowly melt down. Oh, that was great. All right, so if your ball is in your way, please move it. This time your right face cheek goes on the floor, your left arm reaches nice and long. And you take a nice deep inhale, lift that left arm off the floor. Exhale, circle around, starting to float your right leg away. Inhale, hold. Exhale, engage your belly to lower back down and reach that left arm. Great. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, engage your belly, circle the left arm around as your right leg floats. Inhale again. And then exhale, allow for all the air to come out as you use your abdominals to lower that leg back down. And these are the small details of noticing where are you lifting from. So sure, your glutes are getting engaged, your hamstrings are lifting, but really to think about that you're activating your core in order to lift that leg. And then the same as you return. Good. 2 more, please. Inhale and reach. Exhale, lengthen. Good. Inhale, find a little bit more space. Exhale, back. Awesome. And your last one here. And then returning all the way to the middle, stacking both hands on top of each other. Great. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, engage your belly and float your head, neck, and shoulders up. Great. Start to float your legs again away from the floor. So we tap the toes, reaching your arms to the side. And then finding your way back into the middle. Kind of just playing around with this feeling of reaching and tapping. And then exhale, return. Good. 3 more, please. Now, if you feel like you need to put your knees back down on the floor, you can always do it so that your toes re-tap. But if you can, keep the lift, give it a try for the next 2. And then your last one here. Excellent. Slowly melt everything down. Hands come underneath your shoulders. And let's shift our weight all the way back, giving ourselves a nice little stretch. Let's stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's restack our spine all the way to the top. All right, so we're going to find our way back into the center. All right, let's roll the ball underneath your right foot, please, and then just find yourself melting all the way into the floor for a moment. All right, arms go reaching. Hello, spine. Exhale, head, neck, and shoulders come off of the floor. Hands come behind your head, stacking or interlacing. And your left knee comes into the center as you stretch this leg all the way away. Good, so we're taking a nice deep inhale, pushing this left leg all the way down. And as we exhale, we reach all the way out to the side and hold. Okay, so we inhale, slowly lower down this left leg, pulling the ball in, and then exhaling, reaching and returning. Now for the moment, just focusing on noticing the difference between the pull and the push, and then the return back into the center. Good, and we're still holding that upper body, stabilizing as much or as little as we need for the next 2. And your last one here. Great, slowly bending your left knee, bringing your right knee into the center and holding. Great, let's slowly put your hands down by your side, melting your head, neck, and shoulders down on 3, 2, and 1. Good, let's see if we can slowly and steadily push into the ball, lifting your hips off of the floor, trying to stabilize on one foot on the ball. And if you say, hell no, Danny, just take your foot directly onto the mat. And then exhale, find your way all the way back. Head, neck, and shoulders lift, and you reach your left leg up. Great. Bending your left knee, palms come down, melting your head, neck, and shoulders. Grounding into the right foot onto the ball if possible. And we slowly lift on up. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, melt your head, neck, and shoulders. And then slowly lift on up. Awesome. Only 1 more, please. Again, if you don't like your foot on the ball, take it off and just put it directly on the mat. It takes a moment to allow yourself to just lift in this way. Great. And then finding your way all the way back. Super, head, neck, and shoulders lift, and you stretch your left leg away. Great, finding your way back into the center. Bring the ball underneath your left foot, stretching your right leg all the way here. Great, so we inhale, lower that right leg down. And then exhale, reach. Good, so noticing the feeling of pulling and pushing. And allowing the back of your right leg now to stretch for a moment. Super, for the next 4. And sensing how that feels between trusting your toes on the ball, maybe giving that extra little flex at the very end for the next 2. Awesome, and then your last one here. Great, so your heel on the right crosses on your left foot, rolling the ball just enough, close enough to you that you have that stability. Hands go down on the floor, head, neck, and shoulders melt. You ground into the floor, try and push yourself into the ball as you lift. And then melting down. Great, head, neck, and shoulders lift as you stretch your right leg to a high diagonal. And then find your way all the way back down. Great, inhale, prepare. Exhale, push into the ball as you lift. Now again, if you don't like the feeling of your foot on the ball, then put your foot directly on the mat as you melt back down. Good, stretching your head, neck, and shoulders up as you reach. Super, last time here, right foot crosses, head, neck, and shoulders melt. We ground into the floor with our hands as we push into the ball, using your abdominals to hold and lift. Kind of embracing that wobbliness as you slowly drop your hips down and then slowly lift your head, neck, and shoulders and hold. Great, everyone. Knees come back into the center. Take a nice deep inhale. And then rock yourself all the way up. Great. Thank you, Paul, for your service. You were fantastic. Leaning back for your last teaser. Opening up your chest, stretching out your legs, and holding here for 5. If you want to let your arms go, go for it for 4. Leaning back where you can for 3, 2, and 1. Great. Feet go on the floor. Shift your weight forward. Excuse me. And start to bend one knee and then the other. Great. And here is where we start to say yes to everything that fits our vision of what we'd like our life to be. And we actively say no to everything else. And we take another deep inhale. And then exhale, stack your spine all the way to the top on 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's do our last 3 breaths and then